There's many components to securing our water future. More reservoirs coming, hopefully getting built soon. A regionalized secondary water system, finding other sources of water, and then also conservation.
By displaying barrels representing water, St. George Mayor Randall showed how 1,000 gallons of water only costs the city $1.10 right now. That's because the Washington County Water Conservancy District has only raised its wholesale water rates to cities by 10 cents per 1,000 gallons each year.
I actually think it's good that our water is cheap here. And I think it's good, especially for people on fixed income, senior citizens, all those individuals. I want to make sure that we keep their water cheap. Now, those that are abusing water, that's a whole different discussion.
But with a potential shortage looming due to a higher demand and growth, that rate will no doubt go up significantly if something isn't done. That's why the Water District has asked the cities to explore new ordinances and regulations requiring new developments to conserve water.
If you're living here and you have an existing home and you have existing landscaping, none of these ordinances would be applied to you. With that said, a lot of our current citizens that have lived here, and sometimes for a long time, sometimes generations, they're looking at their own practices about how they can do things more efficient.
Municipalities have we've been meeting together, hey, what's our end goal here and how can we get there? And so this is a draft of it.
During a work meeting, St. George City Council members discussed draft water efficiency efforts that could be implemented on new developments to save water, especially when it comes to larger consumers. The St. George City manager suggested to possibly prohibit water-intensive businesses from setting up shop in St. George in the future.
But as of right now, we don't have a regulation that would prohibit a company that wants to come in and use 60 million gallons of water. That our ordinance would allow that. But with such a limited resource, that probably is something we need to give some thought to.
Car washes may fall into that category. While some car washes may use up to 35 gallons of water per car, others may use more.
I've got studies here from International Car Wash Association, and they say, maybe an average with recycling is, maybe 30 gallons per car. I've got one from Western Car Wash Association that says with recycling, the freshwater use is 9 to 15 gallons per car. So what is the real number?
But I think if we invite local car washes that have the tunnels in, have that open discussion, a couple of them are really transparent.
They are
transparent, and they'll tell you all about it and where they think they can conserve.
The city already has an ordinance that requires car washes to have a recirculating system, but not all do. The city placed a 6-month moratorium on new car washes until they find a solution. Another regulation being proposed is a maximum amount of grass allowed for future landscaping on certain lot sizes. For example, a lot size up to 6,000 square feet could only have a maximum of 750 square feet of grass, and more than 18,000 square feet would be capped at 1,500 square feet.
I think from a zoning perspective, what's going to happen is everybody's going to start doing these little teeny, the RE6s. And then everybody's doing the 750 square feet on those RE6s, and so we're actually not gaining what we want to gain because there's actually more grass going in because we're just zoning for that. I'd like to see more of a mix of zoning of different sizes of lots, and so I think, does that make sense of what I'm trying to explain there? Mm-hmm. And so you should be able to allow it to go up higher when you get on the larger lots because you're not subdividing down to the smaller that's going to get the 750 square feet.
And another idea would be to charge those who choose to have a larger lawn to pay a higher market rate.
Okay, I am okay with paying these, higher rates to have this, huge lawn. And a lot of people are going to realize, I don't need this huge lawn. I don't want to pay those rates. It doesn't make sense for me to put in as much lawn as what I normally would. And I think the vast majority are going to naturally conserve it, to save that money.
And those who plan to put in swimming pools would be counted towards the allowed amount of grass. The ordinance would only apply to new developments. Current lots would be grandfathered in.
Once again, argue very strongly for standards on new growth, because this is a chance to really make an impact for homes that don't currently exist.
The city of St. George is looking at residential usage as well by reducing the number of gallons a household might consume per month.
About 180,000 gallons a year for a residential connection. If you average that out over, 12 months of the year, about 15,000 gallons a month is what that would look like. Obviously, you're going to use a little bit more in the summer than you are in the winter, but on the average, you're 15,000 gallons a month.
The Water District is asking all municipalities to pass ordinances right away. While some are in different stages, others may be moving ahead with discussions on how to move forward.
So I don't necessarily want to rush those discussions, but I also know sometimes we can talk about something for 20 years and then nothing gets done. And so it's one of those things I'd like to happen quickly, but reasonably.
There's a reason why growth is good and what it does for our community. And so that's the decision we're being forced to make now. And how are we making that decision?
St. George hopes to set the tone for the rest of the cities when it comes to conservation in the future. In St. George, Melissa Anderson, Community Education News.